Edmund Kemper III, a name that sends chills down the spine, has a story that begins in a seemingly ordinary American home, but the ordinariness was just a facade, hiding a tumultuous family dynamic and a young boy's growing darkness. Edmund Kemper, known to many as Big Ed, was born in California in the late 1940s. His early years were marred by a troubled relationship with his mother, a woman described as domineering and cruel. This relationship would come to define Kemper's life and his heinous crimes. As a child, Kemper exhibited signs of abnormal behavior, a disturbing glimpse into the monster he would become. He showed an early fascination with death, reflected in his morbid childhood games. A chilling example of this was his predilection for decapitating his sister's dolls. But his destructive tendencies didn't stop at inanimate objects. He turned his attention to the family pets, committing acts that psychologists often link to future violent behavior. He killed and buried a cat alive, later digging it up for gruesome curiosity. A second family cat met the same fate, brutally murdered at Kemper's hands. At the tender age of 15, Kemper's mother sent him to live with his paternal grandparents in North Fork, a decision she would come to regret. The isolation of rural life did little to quell Kemper's violent tendencies. In fact, it was here that he committed his first human murders, shooting his grandmother just to see what it felt like, and then killing his grandfather so he wouldn't have to discover his wife's body. Edmund Kemper's childhood was a breeding ground for his later atrocities. His early life was a twisted maze of anger, resentment, and a growing fascination with death. His relationship with his mother was the first in a series of toxic connections that would shape his future, a future that held some of the most horrifying acts America has ever seen. A troubled childhood filled with anger and resentment set the stage for the horrifying acts that were yet to come. It was during his stay with his grandparents that Kemper's dark side truly began to emerge. A seemingly average teenager, Kemper's first act of violence was shockingly directed at his own family. He coldly murdered his grandparents in an act that was both surprising and chilling. His grandfather was the first to die, shot dead in his own driveway. Kemper then turned his attention to his grandmother, taking her life in the very kitchen where she had prepared countless family meals. This brutal act led to Kemper's initial commitment to a psychiatric hospital. Despite the gravity of his crimes, he played the part of the remorseful youth so convincingly that he managed to persuade the professionals he was rehabilitated, a testament to his manipulative abilities. He was released, seemingly a changed person, but beneath the surface the dark urges still simmered. Though Kemper had shown his true nature, the worst was yet to be unveiled. In the early 1970s, Kemper's monstrous nature resurfaced, earning him the chilling nickname, the Co-Ed Killer. Following his release from the psychiatric hospital, Kemper found himself back in the familiar terrains of California. His freedom was short-lived, however, as the urge to kill, which he had suppressed for years, began to rear its ugly head once more. Kemper's next victims would be young, unsuspecting students. He had a method to his madness. He'd pick up hitchhiking co-eds, charming them with his seemingly harmless demeanor, but beneath the surface a beast was lurking, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Once he had them in his grasp, he would commit acts of such horrifying brutality it's hard to comprehend. His victims were not just targets of his rage, they were objects of a gruesome fascination. Kemper would revisit his crimes, not out of remorse, but out of a twisted curiosity. He would spend hours with the bodies of his victims, a disturbing ritual that added an even darker layer to his already horrifying acts. As time went on, his crimes became more gruesome, each act more terrifying than the last. Kemper was spiraling out of control, his monster within growing stronger with every kill. He was a man possessed, driven by a terrifying need to inflict pain, a need that was insatiable and all-consuming. Each crime scene presented a chilling tableau of violence and horror. Investigators were left to piece together the gruesome puzzle, their minds grappling with the horrifying reality of Kemper's acts. His victims were innocent, their lives cut short in the most brutal of ways, and yet, Kemper seemed to revel in his deeds, each act a testament to his monstrous nature. Even hardened investigators were shocked by the brutality of Kemper's crimes. His actions were a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human soul, a darkness that once unleashed can lead to unimaginable horror. With each act, Kemper's crimes became more horrifying, culminating in a final act that shocked even the most hardened investigators. In a final act of violence, Kemper turned his rage towards the source of his lifelong torment. In the spring of 1973, Edmund Kemper's twisted journey reached its horrifying climax. The object of his rage was no stranger, but his own mother, Clarnell. In a gruesome act, he took her life and then invited her friend over, only to meet the same fate. With this grim deed done, a chilling calm descended upon Kemper. He placed a call to the police, confessing to the murders of his mother, her friend, and the 6 students he had previously targeted. His voice was steady, his words unflinching. The man who had once charmed his way into the confidence of unsuspecting co-eds was now revealing his true self. The authorities, initially skeptical, soon found their doubts washed away by the weight of evidence Kemper provided, details that only the killer could know. The co-ed killer was finally unmasked. Kemper's trial was swift. His own chilling confession, coupled with the damning physical evidence, left little room for doubt. The jury found him guilty on all counts. Faced with the prospect of sentencing, Kemper surprised everyone. He requested that he be given life imprisonment and made ineligible for parole. He stated, "Society is not ready in any shape or form for me, I can't fault them for that." His request was granted. Kemper was sent to California Medical Facility, where he has remained since. In the years since his incarceration, Kemper has been a model prisoner. He's participated in numerous educational and therapeutic programs, even recording audiobooks for the blind. Yet, his seemingly ordinary demeanor belies the monstrous acts of his past. Edmund Kemper III, the co-ed killer, remains a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk within a seemingly ordinary man. His story is a testament to the disturbing reality that sometimes the most dangerous monsters are those that hide in plain sight.